Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Shiva Ravindra. Today I am going to discuss clinical oncology complex interview question and answers. Question number 6 out of 100. What is progression free survival? So progression free survival nothing but how long the patient survive without their disease getting worse. For example, the subject having some tumor is there. The tumor was slowly decreasing the size. So continuously only decreasing the size, not increasing the size. Okay. So if it is 100 mm, 90, 80, 70. So how long the size was decreasing or without increasing or the size of the tumor. So that duration is we can measure as the progression free survival. Okay. So without their disease getting worse or died. So if the subject was died, so that duration to here. So start date generally we will take the first dose of our oncology drug. End date, if the progression occur, so we can simply take the that progression when it was occur, that date you can take as end date and end date minus start date plus one give the progression free survival. If death occur, the date of death we can take. Censoring, if the patient's or death has not occurred, the progression free survival we can take as a censored and remaining all are events. Okay. So rules for the censoring, this one. So alive without progression. So the subject was, not died. Still, not progression was happening. So that time we have to take censor at the last progression. When it was the last progression was happening, so that taken we can as a censor. New cancer therapy started before the progression. So censored at the last assessment before the new therapy. No progression death was happening. So in that case we can censor means the subject was censored. Last available is censored nothing but the subject was event free. Okay. So last available disease we can take as a this one. No disease assessment at all. Censored at the first treatment. So in case of progression death after missed the tumor assessment, censored at the last valid tumor assessment before the missing. Sensor, the patient's true progression free survival is unknown beyond the sensor. So we'll see the example so you can clearly understand. So for example, the first dose was taken on the 1st Jan. Progression date was happening on the 1st April. So the tumor treatment was taken on 1st Jan. 1st April, the tumor size slowly increased. So that time the progression free survival is calculated first minus first Jan. It is 3 months of progression free survival. So the subject is without any progression. He lived 3 months. So example two, patient alive without any progression. That means the subject was not having any event. So we can consider that type of subjects are sensor. So first dose, first Jan, last assessment of tumor measurements on the 1st July. 1st July minus 1st Jan, 6 months because the subject progression was not there. The subject tumor size was not increasing. So that time last assessment taken as a end date minus start date will give the 6 months. Still the progression free at the last assessment because last assessment whenever we are measuring that time also the subject was not having that particular progression increasing event. Okay. So third example, you can see new therapy before the progression. Okay. So first Jan, the subject taken our oncology drug. Last assessment was done before the new therapy because we are going to give some new therapy and before that one we will check how the tumor was there first June. So that time also the that subject having no increment of the tumor size. So first Jan to first we will take 5 months. The subject having don't have any event right. So sensor. So no tumor assessment was done. Simply first Jan plus we don't need any zero calculation. So 0 months, but plus one generally we add, otherwise plus zero we can add. So the overview, even nothing but progression or death. Sensor, nothing but progression free survival unknown beyond the last visit observation. Because sensor nothing but event free, who are a event, so that event date we can take as a ended. Analysis based upon this sensor and event, we will do the median 25th quartile, 75th, 95 to see the which drug has a more effect. Graphical representation of this time to event or progression free survival by using the Kaplan-Meier will do. So explain to the interview. Progression free survival is measuring of the time from the study treatment to the disease progression or death. So if the patient has not any disease progression or death, so the progression free survival is censored at the last available valid assessment. So censoring rules also apply if the new therapy if started or tumor assessments are missing. Progression free survival are summarizing using median, percentile and display in the graphical representation by Kaplan-Meier survival curve.